Anyway, I think that's enough Doctor Who. Shall we talk about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? Yay! So we wanted to talk about this 2 weeks ago. I think we just recorded just before it came out, and then last week we didn't end up getting time to do a podcast. Naughty. We missed the first one we missed in a long time. This year, you know.
Yeah.
First one we missed.
But we're doing something cool though.
Yeah, we were doing something cool. Yeah. We were filming.
We're making film. Yeah.
So we decided we'll review Doctor 2 as like a two-parter.
Yeah.
And then we'll do Mission Impossible now.
Yeah.
I think the only problem with that is like it's now been like almost 2 weeks it's 2 weeks tomorrow, isn't it, since we saw it?
Yeah.
So like my reaction to it was kind of a bit hazier.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the rage has gone.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I could probably drum up some disgust. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, to go from one sort of making up as you go along to another.
One disappointment to another.
Another making up as you go along.
Yeah.
We give you Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. We want to establish straight away that you are looking at two of the biggest Mission Impossible fans.
Yeah.
Ever. Like we love these movies.
It gives me unabashed joy.
It gives
to
me
watch
so
all of them.
much joy. We are deep in with the Mission Impossible movies. We've marathoned them a couple of times. We love these movies. We would say there's no truly really bad Mission Impossible movie apart from maybe two.
Yeah, right? and even two, there's some sauce.
There's some sauce. There's the best hair.
Dun
Sweet
dun.
yeah.
The fucking
best song,
bikes.
the bikes, the John Woo like action you get at the end with the knife,
Do Grace Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
The opening with like him playing Ethan.
Yeah.
Great,
So,
great. Yeah.
So there's fun moments. We were a little bit disappointed by 7,
which is the first part to this story.
kind of. Sure.
Yeah.
Obviously retconned, kind of. Unfortunately, I'm here to report that I think that Mission Impossible 8, The Final Reckoning, may possibly be the worst Mission Impossible movie.
I think personally it's comfortably the worst, and all the Mission Impossible rankings I've seen since this came out have been wild to me.
Yeah.
Everyone's rankings all over the place. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think generally people tend to consider 4, 5, and 6 very strong, if not the best.
Yep.
1 is generally considered to be great, which it is.
Yes,
Anyone
it
who
is.
puts 1 near the bottom, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Wrong.
And 3, I think, can go either way.
Yeah.
And then 7, I think people were generally disappointed by 7, but some people will put Final Reckoning like really high up. And honestly, like the defenders of it, even the defenders will say like the first 2 hours are boring, but man, that last hour. I've seen that sentiment online. I've heard it from real people in my real life who've seen it saying the last hour. And I'm like, did we watch the same movie? Like, yeah, the plane stuff in terms of Tom Cruise actually did it for real is insane.
Yes.
The submarine stuff is cool.
Yeah.
But 2 set pieces do not a good movie make, do they?
No.
Like the rest of the 3-hour runtime is meandering. There's no characters. It's tensionless. It makes no sense. The Entity and Gabriel are terrible villains who do nothing. Grace replacing Ilsa Faust is the biggest misstep the franchise ever took.
Yep. Who, by the way, is just a complete different character in this than she was in the last movie.
Yes, that's also valid.
I think you take out these 2 set pieces, right? Mm. The 2 set pieces, take out all the movie in between, are impressive on their own, right? Because you look at it, it is objectively impressive.
Tom Cruise jumping from one biplane to another, and you're like, how did he do that?
It's insane.
He doesn't look like he's wearing a harness.
But the way we get to that, the story or the reasoning behind all of this, is so dull, and that it becomes so much less exciting than what it should be. If you stuck those action set pieces into a better written movie like the other movies are, all of a sudden you're talking about, you could potentially be like, this is one of the best stunts in the whole franchise.
If that biplane sequence was at the end of Fallout, I'd be creaming my pants.
You'd be like, this could be one of the best set pieces in Mission Impossible.
But I think it just goes to show how important story and character is for action.
Yeah.
If I don't care about the characters in this action scene, it doesn't matter how well you shoot it, what stunts you've pulled off, what explosions you've rigged up. I just do not care.
And it doesn't make any sense to me that right now we're sitting here talking about how we don't care about this story in this script when we have so much respect for Kristen McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, who we have always said no story, talk about story all the time, talk about how screenwriting, and they say it in a way that you're like, yes, spot on. And we look at their other works, the other Mission Impossible films, and we're like, yes, some of the best of the franchise. I mean, we both agree Mission Impossible 5 is our favourite of the entire franchise.
6, incredible. And also he did rewrites on 4.
There you go.
So,
if you said 4, 5 or 6 or 1 were your favourite Mission Impossible movies, I'd be like, that's correct. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Any of them, I'm like, sure. Like, they're amazing movies. And I'm watching this and I'm just like, I don't understand how McQuarrie is sitting there and is like, this is acceptable for the script.
It feels like a different person did it.
We have
like,
80 minutes, Matt. 80 minutes of exposition of people in rooms, in boring rooms that look like they're shot during COVID. In boring rooms, of people just talking.
Well, do you think some of this was shot during COVID?
I feel like it has to be.
Because the last one definitely was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know they had 2 years, but originally this was going to come out a year after, wasn't it?
I think what happened, this is my prediction. I think they do what they usually do. With Mission Impossible, people don't know. They come up with the stunts first. They go and shoot the stunts, and then they sort of come up with ways to make the story make sense. And that has worked multiple times, as we've already discussed, and it's worked perfectly. I think it's finally bitten them.
Do you think the reason why it's bitten them? I think a large reason why is they chunked it into 2 movies. So I think what if it had been 1 movie? I think a lot of the story issues they would have had to have worked out within that movie. But I think instead, sorry, I was just going to say, instead what they did was they went, right, well, we'll address this a little bit, but we can always save it later. And then once by the time they got to part 2, it's like, well, not only are you starting this movie midway through, because it's actually 1 movie that you've chunked into 2. It's not 2 distinct expressions. It's not Empire and Return of the Jedi. It's literally we've just continued the movie. All of those things that were lingering, you've not really addressed.
You've not addressed. Yeah, that's a big part. 100%.
And therefore it becomes a mess. Whereas like 5 and 6, I think particularly with 6, I think you can notice a little bit. Oh, this does feel like just stunt to stunt chained a little bit, but they make it work because the story's simple and it's big. This, it's all like the entity. There's the children of the atom. There's cultists who want to like blah blah blah.
For itself, whereas like you said, like Fallout, it's pure cinema in terms of like it's just the set pieces, and we have this story that sort of perfectly sort of strings it along.
There's nuclear bombs. We need to get Solomon Lane out.
It doesn't overcomplicate itself.
And Henry Cavill's the mole.
Yes,
that's basically the whole thing.
Exactly.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
But I mean, why are you watching this if you've not seen Mission Impossible Fallout yet?
I'm almost convinced that they shot the first. They started shooting the first movie. I think they shot a lot of these stunts, and then I reckon they were like, "Hold on a minute, we've shot too much. We need to split this into 2 movies."
I think that is what...
Is that what happened? Because I feel like that's what it feels like to me.
They planned... Didn't they? They announced 2 movies. But I don't know what the timeline is.
Originally it was part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Then they changed part 1, part 2 and changed it to Final Reckoning.
But that's just marketing, isn't it? It is part 2. It is part 2.
But then, like you said, it doesn't really feel... It's not like you can... Like, you can watch Dune 1 and Dune Part 2, and they do feel like one half, then the other half, right? This is like one half... The first half's like half a movie, and then the second half is supposed to be the follow-on, but like you said, doesn't address... It just drops things. Like, it drops the whole storyline with Ethan Hunt's past that they set up.
With Gabriel.
With Gabriel.
That annoyed me so much.
Yeah.
Why do we not go back to it? And this is again like what you were saying about like it feels like a different Christopher McQuarrie.
Yeah.
On the Happy Sad Confused podcast, he was asked directly about this. Like the character, I think her name's Maria, the other brunette in Ethan Hunt's life, who Gabriel appears to kill in the flashback. They shot all that backstory and they were going to tell it. And then Chris McQuarrie basically says, I'm paraphrasing it, but he basically said, well, originally the film was going to come out a year after the first part, but because it came out 2 years after, I thought that allowed us the room to basically not address it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it came out 2 years after, but like, if I marathon these movies, or if, hell, because it's a part 1 and 2, I just watch them together, which isn't a crazy idea,
no.
I'm going to have all this stuff loaded in the front. All the gunpowder goes in, and it never fires.
No, yeah.
And also, like, He made the argument that you've seen everything you need to see anyway. So I guess he means, like, Gabriel killed Ethan Hunt's first love, I suppose. But are we not going to see that? Are we not going to delve into it?
Yeah.
Like, why did he do that? Like, you know, what's there? There must be something more interesting about that past.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why even bother in the first place?
100%. Well, they keep saying, like, Gabriel's like, he's so dangerous. He's
Like,
so dangerous.
he loves causing people pain.
And then in this one, he's like a moustache twirling, like, Dick Dastardly type.
I brought a biplane, Ethan. I even brought a spare. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, the side effect of that was he lost all of his menace, what little he had, but he was more fun.
He was more fun, yeah, that's true. That is true.
Which I love, he's like, the entity rejected you, and he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, Ethan, it did. I'm a little baby bitch. Like, I'm a cuck. But I'm the entity's cuck boy. He sits in the fucking chair in the corner whilst the entity and Ethan aren't chat.
Yeah.
That used to be me. That used to be me.
But I think we need to address the biggest crime this movie commits for me, which is...
Well, I'll take your pick.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely don't know what you're going to say. Because it could be like 5
it's true.
things.
It's true. For me, one of the biggest crimes it commits is... It does kind of what we spoke about earlier today, about what RT does, pulling things back.
And if you've not watched that part and you're watching it on YouTube, go and watch that Doctor review now.
Do it. Is that it just suddenly Macquarie decides in the final movie, let's just tie things from like the other movies and just completely like retcon them and just make them fit really forcefully into this movie in a really contrived and weirdly silly way that don't really change anything in terms of the story. It's just like, just cause. Prime example, I'm going to forget the characters' names, but...
Jim Phelps.
Jim Phelps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, becoming... He's the son of fucking... It's like...
Yeah, he's Jim Phelps Jr.
Jim Phelps Jr.
Yeah. John Voight Jr.
John Voight Jr. for no reason.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come to anything.
And also, what annoys me the most about that is if that was going to come up, that would have come up last movie. It comes out of nowhere. It's so clear they decided.
And for what?
Yeah.
It does nothing.
It does nothing.
It does nothing. It does nothing with it, does it? You could take that bit out and nothing changes. It's just weird.
Dunlow, I'm sorry. I never wanted to see that character again. I never needed to see that character again. I don't think it's clever to bring him back. I don't think it's interesting. Him giving Ethan the knife from the first movie, it's just wank. It's fan service.
Yeah, it's fan service.
And what I think's weirdest about this is, okay, the Star Wars stuff is wank when they do it. It's wank.
Yeah.
But to their credit, there's a bunch of fans that will go, oh my god, that's Zeb from Rebels.
Yeah.
Whereas we're hardcore Mission Impossible fans.
Yeah.
And I think the type of fan that is a Mission Impossible fan is never going to be like, whoa, is that Dunlow?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, Jim Phelps Jr.?
Yeah, no.
Oh my god. Like, it's not that kind of franchise.
It's so weird. And you know what? I told a lie like 5 seconds ago. I said that was the biggest crime they committed. No, I actually think the biggest crime this movie commits is that it doesn't at any point to me feel like a Mission Impossible movie.
I was bored.
It was boring. It doesn't have... Like, I know that part in the submarine is supposed to be a heist, but for me, Mission Impossible, it's all about heists. It's about tension. It's about heists. It's about Ethan Hunt being put in an incredibly crazy situation where
There's an element of camp hijinks to it with gadgets and masks.
all gone. And I didn't mind it. Look, there was a tone that was shifted a little bit with Fallout, right? Where we kind of took out some of the campiness, but it worked. It was fun. I kind of liked the seriousness. It was its own thing. But now, by these last 2 movies, you've taken out, I feel like, so much of what the series is, that by the time we get to this movie, it doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible movie. It just feels like, okay, here's a bunch of stunts that Macquarie and Tom Cruise wanted to do, and we'll just try and make it fit. And it was just... It was a real shame, man. I mean, no one wants to love this movie more than we do, and I can't believe I was actually bored in a Mission Impossible movie.
That's the shame of it, is like... as you say, I wanted to love it.
Yeah.
But also, I was disappointed by 7, but that still operated like a Mission Impossible movie.
Yes, exactly.
It still had structure.
Yeah.
There was great action sequences.
Yep.
It came in at under 2 hours 40 or whatever. Like, it didn't feel like it went outside its welcome too much.
No.
And, the reason why I was disappointed by that movie was more the choices they made.
Yes.
Rather than the filmmaking. Like,
I agree.
killing off Ilsa, I think, is
Crime.
a terrible idea.
Yep.
I think even if Rebecca Ferguson wanted out, even if she wasn't available, I think there's better ways to navigate that character than killing her off. If they only had 3 days to shoot with her, for me, what they should have done is she's off doing something else, or she's not here for the final 2, which sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
The final scene of this one, well, it's time for my retirement with Ilsa.
Yep.
Like if that was
Walks
it,
to the sunset.
I'd still be like, it's a shame she's not in the final 2.
Yep.
But they got their ending.
Yep.
Whereas killing her off,
Yep.
and then killing her off, and then having the gall to not even mention her.
Yeah, no.
Like,
That's the actually. Oh,
she
you're
doesn't
right.
even get a mention in this film.
Right, yeah,
it's like she just
yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
And this is the problem as well. Like again, it comes down to character.
Yeah.
Like the sequences are cool, whatever. It's too long, it's too plot heavy, but the characters are not served. Like Ethan Hunt himself, if this is the final film, then what are we saying about his soul? What are we saying about who he is as a person? Like Fallout and Rogue Nation have kind of got these themes of like, you know, what with his old wife returning, and like Ilsa being like, there'll always be another Solomon Lane. We should just get out. We're always going to be used. Like we could just retire from this life. You don't have to keep doing this. Like we're questioning his very being. Whereas I feel like all of that just got tossed aside because like Ilsa was his ticket out, and she's dead. What is that like? If you're going to do it, I need the fallout of that, no pun intended, in Ethan's life. Like, what does he think or feel about any of that? I feel like he has no opinion on it at all. No. And that to me is the most unforgivable stuff.
Yes. No, I 100% agree, actually. I mean, I like you said, I mean, I said that was the biggest crime, but there's so many in this movie. Because even when you was talking about that, I'm like, yeah, that's so true. These characters just doesn't feel consistent with the last couple of movies. But then I remembered, oh wait, there's another crime they commit. Doing our boy dirty.
Oh, Luther.
Mate, what? Guys, please, if we missed it, please tell me. Why is he in a hospital bed?
I think he's dying of cancer, and it was just like, it happened off screen.
They just happened off screen.
But also, do you not think that's a weird choice? Because the second that happened, or that they showed that he was dying, I'm like, well, he's not long for this movie. So like it undercuts...
The thing, yeah.
It undercuts his own death
because
he's already dying anyway.
Yeah.
And it kind of is like to rob it of tension, I feel like. He's like, well, he was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
I get it's like the final movie. So like if you were ever going to kill off Luther or Benji, now's the time to do
100%.
it.
I agree.
But, well, you just killed off Ilsa. So if you were going to kill off a core member, why kill off Ilsa, then Luther?
Yeah.
But also it's like, I don't want a Mission Impossible movie without Luther.
Luther's been there since the first one.
Yeah. Like... Ghost Protocol just barely gets away with not having Luther.
Yeah.
Like I know he's at the end, but he's essentially not in it,
Yeah.
and it's the only one that he's not in.
Yeah.
And it just about gets away with it.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to do that again.
No,
and
I
we've
agree.
done it again. He's not in the movie basically, is he?
No.
But then I actually think at least he gets a scene.
It's true.
Benji does nothing.
Benji's barely in it, really.
But even when he's in it, he's like you know, there's no arc, there's no. Like he barely spends any time with Ethan.
No. Except we get these other characters that we don't care about.
That also do nothing.
They do nothing.
Like Pom Clemente, her character was like a psycho killer in the last movie. She's reduced to nothing.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick guy.
Yeah.
I'm completely blanking his name, but he was with Shea Wiggum in the last one.
Yep.
Then he defects.
Yep.
He had no character.
No.
And then Grace is this one of the single worst characters in the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Like she there's nothing to her.
No.
And I know she's not Ilsa's replacement, but that's not even me saying this. Like the movie positioned her as Ilsa's replacement.
Yep.
They couldn't have two women on the team at the same time. They couldn't have two brunettes on the team at the same time, so they had to kill off one of them. And that's what we've ended up with, where like Ilsa's gone, now we've got Grace. And also again, like they kind of position her as like the new love interest for Ethan, but then by the end of the movie, that's kind of like didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And you know Maria, the woman from the flashbacks in the trailers, she's I guess it is like kind of, you know, like the reality of it is not like maybe it's in his head, but he was the one that kind of like she was the one kind of pulling him out of the ice.
The ice.
And then it's been like retconned by the final cut where it's Grace doing it. I guess it was always Grace doing it and he was imagining Maria.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, what was happening there?
Yeah.
Were we going to get more context on that? Like, what? Why does he fear Gabriel so much? Like, who is this
We're not
guy?
shown that. We don't get it. We're just told it the whole time.
And
It's so
the entity
weird.
as well.
So
The entity does
nothing.
nothing.
Does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. It's pointless. By
It does less than
They
in the
just
last
completely-
movie.
They basically just want to drop it, and they just. I feel like that's what it was like. They wrote themselves into a corner with the last one. I think that's the biggest
The
problem.
entity is too powerful.
It's
like
too,
you can't possibly stop
and
it.
it's
like,
not Mission Impossible. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not Mission Impossible. Isn't that? It's he needs to get into a building in the most highly fucking protected building in the world with all these elaborate things.
I feel like they know
through.
that because they end up making the entity just like essentially a drive that they have to find, don't they?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have any presence.
It goes weirdly super sci-fi, didn't it? This one,
like when it's talking to him,
and
it's
he's
like
having that whole
it's only pain.
Solomon
like
Vane's voice is so weird. I mean, for me, like, and this is the other thing, it's the Final Reckoning. It doesn't ever at all for me feel the weight of the final one.
no, I feel like he could do another one.
Fallout for me feels more like a definitive end, and
Thematically as well. Like he meets Julia again.
Yep.
He closes that off. Like, also as well, what I think's weird is we have all these like nostalgia callbacks in this one.
Yeah.
But 6 does that in a plot way.
Yeah.
Because Julia coming back is a bit of a gloop shitto.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, oh no, but she's actually going to be integral to the story. She is in the third act properly, and she serves Ethan's
It's a character
arc.
moment.
Yeah. So you get away with it.
Yeah, 100%.
But this is like, oh, let's just have Jim Phelps' son in it for
just for the
thrills of it.
Yeah, for the fuck of it.
It's really weird. I wish they'd stopped at 6 because what I think's so funny is the MO of this, right, was to be the first 2-part Mission Impossible story that was going to end the franchise.
Yep.
Ethan Hunt's last mission, an epic finale. What is ironic is that they already did that because 6 is the first time a director directed another Mission Impossible movie.
Yep.
It's the first time a villain came back, Solomon Lane. It's the first time the story is a direct sequel to the last one.
Yep.
We go from the Syndicate to the Apostles.
Yep.
And obviously Julia comes back, tying it back to 3.
It's just making me want to watch it again.
Oh, well, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But like in this, they try and tie it back to 3 with the Rabbit's Foot. But like in Fallout, they do that through character. Whereas in this, it's just, remember this thing?
Yeah.
So everything about 6... already did what this 7 and 8 tried to do. 5 and 6 does that as a pairing.
For me, the franchise ends at 6. It's the perfect.
I think it's the only way it makes sense.
It's the only way it makes sense. Perfect send off. Chooses Ilsa. They ride off to the sunset.
All I need for that to be a definitive ending is I'm quitting after this, and they both quit together.
Yeah.
Like that's all I need. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And it calls back to her being like, there's always gonna be another lane.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be men to fight them. We don't have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
You've given them everything. Not everything. Not yet. So yeah, that's where that should have ended. It's one of those things like, sometimes when you're like, I didn't like it, but I can see why people did like it. I honestly, I can't fathom why you'd be into the Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours of nothing. And there's at least 5, arguably 6, arguably 7 other movies that do this thing 10 times better.
Yeah.
So there's direct comparison points. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, the Final Reckoning was dope, I'm like, have you seen Rogue Nation?
Yeah.
That's a good Mission Impossible movie. That does everything this does better.
They even do other things in this movie that they've done in other movies, but better, like the bomb disposal.
The whole finale of this is Fallout.
Yeah.
They've just swapped the helicopters for planes.
Yeah.
2 air vehicles. Ethan's in one, the villain's in another. He's trying to catch him to grab the goober, which is going to stop the nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
The team on the ground have to wait until... They literally... This is so granular of a comparison. They have to wait until the last second to cut the wires to give Ethan the most chance possible to stop it.
Yep.
And they're both like... In both movies, they're like, he's going to do it.
Yep.
We have to give him the chance. Like, this is the same fucking finale. How did they get away with this? People are like, this is amazing. This last hour was amazing.
Don't get me wrong, like, that biplane bit is impressive. It's cool. It's a cool sequence.
Yeah.
Like, it on its own, it's cool. It's got some tension, but it doesn't, for me, have any tension because of the story. I don't care about anything that's happening by that point. It's taken so long.
Yeah.
I've watching people on boats explain to me why this mission is dangerous. For it to just be like, I don't know, the most, like you said, we've already seen it before. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it, and it was big disappointment. And I hate that I'm having to be this negative about it.
But I just don't see what people see in it, honestly. And the people that really hated it, if I read any reviews and any points get made, I feel like I'm constantly like, whether it's on Letterboxd or like, you know, actual like review outlets, I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Like, I just think there's so many valid points out there about why this doesn't work. Stuff that we've covered, other stuff that we haven't covered. Like, the only saving grace to me in terms of entertainment value was Milchek turning up.
Oh yeah, for sure. To deliver the killer line, to deliver a line that's not, I think, anything on script on the page, but because he's got so much charisma and he's a great actor, delivers it perfectly.
Or he's like, "You must be Sergeant Weber. You must be out of your damn mind."
So
also, I loved. Well, if you don't get in the compression chamber, you're going to die. Well, with respect, that was never my plan. Oh.
Yeah.
What exactly was your plan? Like, the way he does it, is so funny. Like,
so funny.
Like, we saw it in the IMAX and the cinema laughed at that.
Yeah.
Like, they laughed at a guy going, oh. Like,
Yeah.
that's, again, what you said, nothing on the page.
No,
it's nothing
it's
on
a
the page.
great actor.
It's an actor, yeah. There are no small actors, only small parts. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
No.
It's just disappointment.
It's
It's a rise of Skywalker level disappointment where, like, it will always be there.
Yeah.
It can never be undone. Ilsa's always dead. Palpatine always came back.
Yeah.
You know? Like, those things can never be...
Ray Palpatine.
Yeah, Ray Palpatine can never be undone.
Which is the John Voight.
Yeah. Jim Phelps Jr. Like, Ilsa can never be undeaded.
No.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Please don't make another one. I don't need them to make any more.
No.
A part 9 is not going to rectify it.
No. Finishes at Fallout.
Yeah. Well, this has been the Full Fat Podcast. Next week, we will have probably seen Ballerina.
Yep.
And maybe both of us will try and see Lilo and Stitch.
Yep. And possibly... Is Predator out?
Predator, Ballerina.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a good podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good podcast.
Yeah.
I hope I don't eat my words.
Yeah.
There's no way this movie is going to be bad. A huge thank you to Dr. Chike and Peter Vaughan for being my Full Fat patrons. Your contribution to keeping the channel running is immeasurable. If you'd like to join the Patreon for exclusive goodies, early releases of main videos, the podcast, video scripts, and a thank you in the credits, then please head on over to patreon.com/fullfatvideos to choose one of the paid tiers.